I'm here to show you how you can leverage the Densify API to extract all the wonderful recommendations that we make as part of our analytics. To set the stage, I'm going to start off with our executive dashboard. So you should all be familiar with this already. We got 583 instances that we're analyzing, and the analysis found potential optimization recommendations that are of the modernized category, and majority of them are of the downsize optimal family, right? So the breakdown for these recommendations is provided in the table below. And what I'm going to do is scroll down to the downsize optimal family. So we have 19 M4 extra larges that are running today, and we're recommending a downsize to an R5A. Leveraging the reserve instances, you can save roughly just over $1,100 a month. So let's click on the 19 here to see the individual instances. And the reason I'm doing this or showing you this is that all the data that is available here in the UI for these instances can be extracted using API calls. Okay, so as an example, we'll look at this third instance here. So here's the name of the instance. It's an M4 extra large, recommended type is an R5A. And if we scroll across, there's several different columns here of data. So we're recommending reserve instance, what's the price for on-demand today, what would be the RI price, and what is the recommended price. So the recommended price is based off of the uptime value here. So depending on how often that instance is up and running, that can all be extracted as part of the API call. So I'm not going to walk through all the different columns that are here, but one of the ones that is important is the utilization metrics. So we have CPU utilization metrics on the current instance and what it would look like on the target instance. And we have metrics that we can extract for helping support our recommendation as part of the API calls. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go to this other screen here. So Postman is a great tool for working with REST API calls. So it's a free download. You can find it on the internet. And what we've done here is we've created a collection for you. So the collection consists of some of the most common commands customers like to run. And there's a whole bunch of other commands. They're all documented. So there's access to those documents, as I'll show you shortly. As part of loading the collection, you'll need to go into here and specify your Densify SaaS URL, right? So what's the host name that we've created for you? Of course, we'll need the username, password to authenticate to get all this data as well. And there's some other parameters here that can be also provided. Now, once you fill all that in, here is the URL that we're going to be making the API call on. So it's a GET request. All I have to do is say send. That will actually connect to the URL. In this case, we're just doing a ping test to make sure that we have access. Now, I'm just going to authorize myself by running the second command here. And once these two commands are run, we're good to go. So the collection that we've built down here will allow you to extract, for example, all the recommendations in a JSON format. There's also another API call we've created so we can extract in a Terraform format if that's needed. Again, as you notice, whenever I click on a different part of the tree here, the URL that we're going to do the REST API call on changes. Click the send button, it produces a bunch of output. So just to show you what kind of information is provided, if I go down here, here is the name of the instance. Here's the current instance type, so it's an M4 extra large. We are recommending a R5A. And again, we also have the uptime value. We have the cost today, what the recommended cost would be by making that change. And of course, the savings as a dollar figure. So, you know, that's all the information here that could be extracted at a high level for all the recommendations. If you wanted full details for a particular instance, so we also have an API call to say, hey, show me the full details for a particular instance type. I'll do a send request here. So again, as part of the data collection, we're going to connect to AWS, pull in everything that we know about that instance type. So anything that we know in Densify that's presented, it could be a resource tag, various attributes that you might have assigned to it as well. That's all going to be provided here for that one particular instance. So there's lots of data here. I'm not going to scroll through what's provided in detail, but lastly, we also have the capability here to download the impact analysis or and recommendations report, aka the app owner report. I'm going to click the send here. By running that call, it'll actually generate a PDF for you. So again, you should already be familiar with this report, and this report has all the details for that one particular instance and everything that I was showing you in the UI. So here's the change, here's the supporting charts, and the reason why this report is very useful is that you could leverage the API to pull this report out. And what we do with our customers is anytime we're making a recommendation to do a change, that change needs to be tracked in a ticketing system. So we will auto-generate a ticket. As part of that ticket creation, we will attach this PDF, and that'll go to the app owner. Once the app owner actually approves that ticket, it'll actually feed right back into Densify, and then we will make the automated change. Now, the automation is, the details for that is going to be in a separate demo, but I think at a high level, once again, we have a REST API. You can leverage Postman to use the collection that we've created for you to run the various API calls. One last thing I'd like to show you is that all these API calls are actually documented here as well. So we provide some high-level documentation in the Postman collection, but there's also links for every call that we have in here so that you can actually drill down and see the details of how that API call actually works. So we have the URL that we're using, and then we have the details as to what the input is and what the output would be as part of that call.